Good morning. Welcome to Columbus Center for Spiritual Living. My name is Tammy Evans. I'm a religious science practitioner. It's my pleasure to be doing this morning's meditation for you. Find a comfortable seated position. Feet on the floor. Hands in your lap. Palms up. Let your shoulder blades relax. Close your eyes. Relax your body. Keeping your attention on your breath. Take a nice deep breath all the way in and all the way out. As you inhale, notice your chest rise. As you exhale, notice your chest sink. Inhaling, thinking, let. Exhaling, thinking, go. Letting go of any stresses or tensions and giving your body and mind the much needed permission to relax and just be. If at any time your attention wanders, bring it back to your breath. Thinking let as you inhale and go as you exhale. You're in a safe space now. You're calm. You're balanced. Silently repeat to yourself, I am calm and balanced. Inhale, noticing your chest rise. Exhale, noticing your chest sink. Inhale. Exhale. If you're feeling stressed at this moment, imagine the stress is like having a storm or a hurricane in your life. The chaos that the storm brings is in your awareness. But breathe in and out. Know you are safe. Within every hurricane is an eye to the storm. Imagine that you're looking down into the storm and can see the still calm center, the eye of the storm. Find yourself in the center of the storm, with all your worries and all your stresses swirling around you. But you feel very peaceful. You're relaxed and calm. This storm is much like your life, but you're in the eye of the storm at this moment. You can see the swirling, the chaos, and you can see the things that can cause you stress if you let them, but they don't. They don't because you're in the eye of the storm. You're at peace and calm. And you see clearly that you have a choice of whether to step into the storm and get swirled into the stress, into the chaos, or you can stay in the nice and calm place in the center. You have a choice whether you step into the storm, into the swirling chaos, or to stay calm and balanced in the center, in your center. Feeling yourself centered, you now realize that you can choose relaxation in every situation. Are you centered? Or do you step out into the storm? Gently rest here for a few moments, keeping your attention on your breath. Inhaling let, exhaling go. Begin to wiggle your toes and your fingers as you take a nice deep breath in all the way. Exhale all the way. As you take another deep breath in, reach your arms over your head. Exhale, releasing anything that no longer serves you. Feeling connected, light and free. Rest here a few more minutes. Then when you're ready, wiggle those toes and fingers a little more. Open your eyes. And remember to spend your day in the eye of the storm. Namaste.
Well, they do a great job, and there's a, yeah, Cambria, Cambria, and backsplash. It's interesting when you see it with the shadows and everything. It's exactly the same, but it looks different.
I love that material. Is that like marble and stuff?
It's quartz.
Okay.
70% quartz, and
I think this, like when I have the house, it's so
actually the wall out to the south.
morning, Columbus Center for Spiritual Living. My name is Sarah Awad, and I'm a licensed spiritual practitioner, and I am going to be giving you the announcements today. A huge thank you to everyone joining us today online and in person, and on our Facebook page for meditation and Sunday celebration. A huge thank you. If you want to facilitate a workshop on Sunday afternoon, complete a 2022 CSL workshop request form in the e-newsletter or contact the office. We'd love to have you share your talents with the community. Schedule your Divine Dining event today. If you are interested in hosting to support the center, forms are available in the e-newsletter or call the office. Join Dr. Michelle Chambers and Chuck Johnson for their workshop, Healthy Back, on Sunday, August 14th from noon to 2 in the community room. A sign-up sheet is in the lobby where you can get additional information. You can also sign up via the recent June e-newsletter. Mark your calendars to attend our newest class, Meditation is More Than You Think, which begins August 30th. Get more information in your upcoming e-newsletter. We have some exciting events that will be taking place in the very near future. Here's a glimpse with more details to follow. Food Truck Sunday, August 28th, Dessert with the Presidents, and a Drumming Circle Labyrinth Walk rescheduled in both in September, and our holiday craft and bake sale is back this year on the first Sunday of December. Here's a reminder that we have 2 new convenient ways for you to donate to CCSL. We have a new web giving link and a text to give number. These are both on the slide, and you can access them from your latest e-newsletter. Are you getting our monthly e-newsletter? It's full of important information about CCSL. If you're not receiving it, please leave your information with Julie before leaving today. If you would like prayer after service, or any time throughout the week, you can find our prayer practitioners on the website columbuscsl.org, or you can submit a prayer request on our Facebook page. Today after service, our practitioners will be in the Anna room just outside these doors. And now I'd like to introduce Tom Demko to come up and say a few words. Tom?
Good morning. Carla Powell and I will be hosting Dessert with the Presidents on Saturday, September 10th from 6:30 to 9:30. Carla is a great cook and a baker, and I'm a historical nut, or buff, I should say. I've been fortunate to meet 2 presidents. I've been to the White House several times, and I have a great collection of books and artifacts of presidential history. I also have a very interesting collection of china, presidential china, from 16 of the 46 presidents. We're hosting this in celebration of the kickoff of the midterm elections. 18 people are invited. I am centrally located. It will be at my house. I'm centrally located in Clintonville. So please sign up either today in the lobby or through Facebook. Again, Dessert with the Presidents, Saturday, September 10th from 6:30 to 9:30, and my house is located in Clintonville. Thank you very much. Hope to see you all.
And that's our news for today, so let's all stand and sing our opening song, This Door is Open to You.
Is let's be together. From love and be loved. From the missed out to the turned out. From the pampered to the abused. This door is open to you. Come on in. Come on in. The God in us recognizes the God in you. Whether you're black or white, gay or straight, Christian, Muslim or Jew, this door is open to you. Come on in. Come on in. Come on in. The God in us recognizes the God in you. Whether you're black or white, gay or straight, Christian, Muslim or Jew, this door is open to you. Whether you're black or white, gay or straight, Buddhist, Hindu or Jew, this door is open to you. This door is open to you.
Good morning and welcome to the Columbus Center for Spiritual Living. My name is Margie Sammons. I am a licensed religious science practitioner and the spiritual director here today and every day. And I'd like to welcome you, those folks online, those folks that are here in the center today. We are a New Thought, non-denominational community, and we welcome you wherever you are on your path to spirituality, to God, and we also welcome you as however you show up in the world. So we're glad that you're with us today, and later on we'll load up the video for today on YouTube, so thank you for watching on Facebook, thank you for watching in the future on YouTube. Today's exciting because we have a guest speaker, Carissa Holmes, will be our speaker today. So I just wanted to say that because she'll just pop up here and talk, and I wanted to let y'all know that. So let's read our mission statement, if you would, along with me. We serve the transformation of individual lives through education, spiritual practice, and deep community, using spirit and science of mind principles as our compass. So I would like to thank practitioner Tammy Evans for meditation and for holding High Watch this morning. High Watch is holding us in a consciousness which allows us to raise our vibration in our Sunday celebration. So thank you for that, Tammy. And now I'd like to reintroduce our platform practitioner, Sarah Awatt.
Thank you, Margie. And now we begin our sacred service with the ringing of these bowls. A reading from Fred Rogers. If only you could sense how important you are to the lives of those you meet. There is something of yourself that you leave at every meeting with another person. And now let the music take you within.
I am
to know that we are all anchored in the eternal love of God. To know that there is an eternal wholeness in this moment. That there is a divine I am presence. A divine yes, which is unfolding and expanding within each and every one of us this beautiful morning. And as that bright light of consciousness expands within us, we too expand and grow into the wholeness of this moment, into the blessing of this service, into the blessing of our lives this glorious day. We lean into that divine yes, that I am, that is seeding and birthing itself within each and every one of us, so that we might become more of that grace, that beauty, that light, that perfection that is truly our nature, so that we might bring forth our God-given gifts and talents as and through our lives for the benefit of the world. And so I am just grateful to know this truth. I'm grateful to bless this service today. And I am grateful for the knowing that yes indeed, we are connected on the unseen side of life to one another and to that one, that only, that we call God. And so I just bless this service. I bless our guest speaker, Carissa, knowing that that divine presence, that divine message, that divine love is moving magnificently this morning as and through her for the benefit of every person hearing it today. And so with a full and grateful heart, I release my word into the loving activity of divine law, simply letting it go, knowing it is done, it is so, and together we say, and so it is. Amen. Hello. For those of you watching who do not know me, my name is Carissa Holmes, and I am very happy to be here today again to speak to you about this wonderful monthly thing we have going on, relationships. It's kind of a loaded word, and I'm glad about that. I was excited when y'all asked me to talk about this because there's so many directions I want to go in with this. And our theme today is the one and only. And when we hear this phrase, the one and only, does that mean your beloved, your partner, the one? Does that mean yourself? Does that mean God, the thing itself? And the answer is yes. If there's only one, then it's everything. So literally, I could stand up here and just talk about bacon, and I would be giving a talk about the one and only, and I would be very self-gratified. But I won't do that. I won't. I will not focus on bacon for once. So our affirmation, my relationship with everything, demonstrates my relationship with God. How could it not? What does that really mean? No matter what the relationship is, it's a relationship with God because that is all there is. Everything and everyone is made of that energy. Intellectually, we know that.
So all relationships are God to God relationships. And we can choose to really recognize this and dive into this and be more aware of it in our daily interactions. We can choose to begin seeing the divine underpinning of every interaction we have, no matter how meaningless or perhaps annoying. Or we can just stumble around, kind of blindly bumping into things and brushing people off and failing to recognize what and who we are meeting in every moment, even as we feel the weight of our bodies on the ground. What is it that's underneath our feet? So, knowing intellectually that there's only the one and only, what are some simple ways that we can interact with other aspects of God in more conscious ways, not just so that we can feel like we're really woke or that we're doing it right, but frankly because it makes life much more interesting and fulfilling and joyful to feel the presence of God in every little thing around you. So rather than just thinking about it, how do we know that in our bones? How do we live that? And it can be really complex and kind of triggering to try to approach that from the level of interacting with other people, our relationships with our family or whomever. Humans are complex. It's really not easy to relate with the members of our own species. Isn't it weird? Like other animals just kind of know how to do it. You know, birds aren't like fighting with each other about who's going to make the flock move in one direction. They just do it. Like we have so much trouble with members of our own species, but it's okay. So just to kind of explore that a little bit, let's just say out loud the word. Just say relationships.
Relationships.
Where that lands for you. Now say my relationship with my parents.
My relationship with my parents.
Did that feel different? Now say my relationship with my kids.
My relationship with my kids.
Even if there aren't any. For me, that always lands in a very interesting way. Now say my romantic relationship. See how loaded this word can be. Now say my relationship with my friends.
My relationship with my friends.
They each have a different tone. See how imprinted we are by life. See how complicated relationships with other humans can be. So we're super biased, we're super imprinted, and maybe a beginner's exercise in conscious living is not just start, becoming super aware and conscious in your relationships with other people. It's kind of like diving into the Lord of the Rings novel on page like 489 and wondering why you're super confused and can't figure out what's going on. So even if you've seen the movie. So if we begin our work in conscious relating, becoming more aware of the one and only with ourselves, which is the only perspective from which we can get firsthand experience, we can expand out from that centered place in a very meaningful way, very grounded and centered way. So I always think that's a great place to start. And then our interactions with other people become more tender. There's more compassion there because you're so much more aware of yourself and your stuff. We automatically have more awareness and acceptance of other people. So those other relationships that had such a tingly feeling when we talked about it get a little bit easier. So Rumi said, your task is not to seek for love, but merely to seek and find all the barriers within yourself that you've built against it. Because that one and only is an endless vibration of incomprehensible love. And if we can just peel a layer, we have these filters, we have these layers of perception altering filters that allow us to have this experience of separateness. We know this. I can feel separate from you. I can feel separate from the food I'm eating, even though it's literally being absorbed into my body. I can feel separate from the air that I breathe, even though it goes in and transforms my cells, keeps me alive. I still get to feel separate from that. And if we didn't have those filters that help us forget we would just wake up and we'd automatically know we're the one and only, and there would be no fun to be had here in this realm of remembering that again after forgetting. So we need those filters, as annoying as they may be. We need the dimensional layers to help step down that incredibly powerful energy, that force that we all are outside of just our little physical selves. And it's really interesting, in Love and Law, the Unpublished Teachings of Ernest Holmes, he says, "Sometimes I cry as I talk. I feel so big inside. To think that the great intelligence is operating through me, without that definite, clear thinking intelligence behind it, it would be nothing but a mess of mush, and we could not work with it. The universe is run by intelligence, and the trouble is we've separated ourselves from that intelligence." So perhaps a way of looking at our relationship with ourselves, therefore our relationship with the divine, is to think of a fulcrum. A fulcrum is just that point. I like to think of it as a teeter-totter. It's the middle of the teeter-totter. It's the point where two opposing sides have their balancing point. So on this side, we have the human vibration, all our separateness, bacon, fighting, all that. And on the other side is just this infinite, endless field of the one and only the divine. And perhaps our job is not to try to be less human and kind of shaming this human side and trying to tune to the divine, but maybe we're meant to just dance on that fulcrum. Just doing this beautiful dance. We're aware of both sides. We kind of teeter to one direction a little bit, and we just want to balance. So we do a little shimmy and slide over this way and find a way to be both and to see that there really aren't two sides. There's just one teeter-totter moving in really fun ways. The life and teaching of Jesus was to show the intimate, immediate, personal relationship that we all have with life itself, which is within us, around us, and through us. That's from 10 Ideas That Make a Difference. So we change the world by changing the quality of our relationship to the world, which is, in fact, a relationship with God. How do we do this? It's nice to think about these things, but how do we actually start to feel that rather than just knowing it in our head, which is a good step? So I will share with you a couple of things that I've discovered that can be really effective, they're easy, and that really don't cost anything. Yay! That help us to get there. So one of the habits that I developed some time ago, I used to eat super fast. I was just like, get it done, get it in there so I could go off and do other things. And because at that particular age that I was when I had that habit, I never had any digestive problems related to not chewing my food. It was fine, I thought everything was great. But then I eventually, as I got a little older, stomach would be a little upset when I would do naughty things like that. So I had to slow down. And I developed this habit. I heard about mindful eating, the Buddhists practice. Now, I knew I wasn't going to do that because they will take a bite of food, put their spoon down, and contemplate things before they pick up their spoon again and take another bite. And I just knew that I was not going to do that. It was going to take 2 hours to eat a bowl of soup. So I had to find something that worked for me, because I was not a monk at that point. So I decided that rather than saying grace over my food, which was a habit that my dad instilled in me in my youth, rather than a prayer of gratitude to Spirit for my food, I decided to feel and express deep gratitude to the Spirit within my food as it nourished Spirit inside me, and to try to feel that it's the same thing, recognizing itself in this really interesting way. So the way that I chose to do that is to give thanks to every ingredient in my food while I was eating it. Now, if that doesn't get you off processed food real quick, because you're not going to want to sit there and read this label thank you, polysorbate 80, I can't even pronounce this, but thank you, whatever you're doing. So I ate very simple food. I love soup, so I made a lot of soups. I knew what was in the soup because I made it and I didn't have to sit there and read the label. And I just gave thanks to each ingredient. I would take a bite and there'd be a carrot and I'd be like, oh, thank you, carrot, for your vitamins and your sweetness, and thank you, thank you. And at first, nothing magical really happened other than me kind of taking forever to eat and thinking about what I was putting in my food. But after a time, I started feeling this really deep sense of reverence for every ingredient that gave itself up to interact with my body in that way. And what started to happen was, at that time, I was not a gardener. Believe it or not, I was not born being a freak about gardening. I didn't know that turmeric and ginger were roots that grew in the ground. I didn't know rice grew in flooded paddies. But what started to happen was, I would eat this ingredient and I'm saying, oh, thank you, rice, and I'm focusing on the rice and the taste of it. And all of a sudden, I would just have this vision of rice growing wherever, at the time I didn't know it was growing in this water. Or I would see the carrots and I would get this sense of being in the earth, and there was this very rich sense of all these minerals around me. Minerals were very important, and the sun was this constant source of just, it was like mother and father at once. It was like everything to these plants. And obviously, if photosynthesis is your jam, you're gonna like the sun, but man, I didn't realize how much just worship there was going on with every little plant. And I would eat an ingredient and immediately I'd be transported to where the plant was growing. It was showing me everything, and it was always the sun. It was the sun and it was rain. And I wasn't just seeing this, I was actually feeling this connection to the divine in every form that the plant needs to survive, and how grateful, and there was just this joyous celebration just to be alive. And I got to kind of get a contact high off of that, because I certainly at that time was not super excited just to be alive. I was just like anyone else, I suppose. I thought I had to have certain things to be happy. So I started feeling this incredible sense of joy just to be alive, and I was so humbled by a bowl of soup. Like, oh my goodness, I'm getting to have this, come into my body. I'm so blessed, and this thing had a life and went through its whole thing, and now it's supporting me. And there was a sense of the divine just receiving itself back. I'm like, this is supposed to happen. This is how it works. It's very beautiful. And so, connecting with plants in that way, I started to get really interested in gardening. Like, I wanted to know what that was all about. And I failed super hard for, 5 years at trying to grow anything because I was clueless. But eventually I got to the point where I was much more conscious and I knew what to do. And this practice of eating very consciously led to the practice of gardening consciously. I wanted to grow my own food and see if that would be different than eating something that someone else grew. And so, I'll show you, we have a little video here that can show some of what happened when I took a really, really deep dive into it. During the quarantine, obviously, I had nothing else to do. I couldn't work. It was a very scary time. I was going through a lot of different things at that time, a lot of transformative things that were not easy. And so my garden was my happy place. And I took the whole backyard of this place that we had just moved to and turned it into a big organic garden and kind of a spiritual place of practice. So you can go ahead and hit play. And I started videoing when I didn't know to turn my phone to the side, so I'm sorry about the skinny video. This is the start. It was your typical urban backyard. There had been 2 Rottweilers back there, and they had pretty much destroyed the ground. It was just mud hole on one side and weeds on the other. There's 2 raised beds that were definitely had to go. They were all rotted out and full of ants and weeds. So basically, your standard issue, nobody really cared about a backyard. And this is the beginning. I'm kind of tilled up. Unfortunately, I had to till to get started. That's a baby cherry tree and an oregano plant. And that area would become a strawberry bed. So I essentially tilled it up, and I uncovered a brick path. There was a path in there. You couldn't even see because the weeds were all over it. The cat breathes. She was into it. And so there I'm putting down cardboard and wood chip to make a path through the garden. Because
because it's really good for your plants to have that wood chip there. And there I put down more cardboard to smother out the weeds, and on top of that I put a little bit of topsoil to help get it started. And I made it in a spiral like the Nazca lines in Peru because I'm weird like that. I didn't want a straight path. So there's the dirt going in, and the cardboard broke down and eventually the plant roots went through that. So there's the kind of before and after before I put the plants in. And I was out there every day, man, digging and just getting in touch with the earth. And this is it in probably July from the looks of the sunflowers. And this was where I began to learn and experience God. I'd walk outside, and if the sun was coming through a leaf, it's like that plant just jumped out at me and started talking to me. It's like, I am alive and you're alive and we're the same thing. We're the same life. And eating these, there's kale growing all along there. There's all kinds of vegetables. When I would eat those vegetables, the sense of divinity and being humbled by being supported in this way was even deeper because I had relationship with these plants. I had already recognized the divine in them before I even picked them, and the sacrifice they made was really just a continuation of life. So it was like I didn't feel bad about eating them, oddly enough, even though they were my friends. And anytime I felt out of balance, all I had to do was put my feet on the ground and feel that presence again. And I remembered that I'm alive, I'm life. The sun is on me, I have just as much reason to celebrate as they do. And all of the things that happened there that surprised me that I didn't know were going to happen. All of the little animals that came, and the insects and the butterflies. It was a whole container, it was a whole world unto itself. It didn't happen, I started it, but it diversified and continued itself. Life multiplied itself. It's clear there was intelligence behind all that. I don't know how to do that. All I did was make a space and put a few seeds down. And life did its own thing. It's very clear there's an intelligence and a presence. And you really can't help but to feel it if you're actually standing in the midst of it like that. So, knowing that kind of unity for yourself and for all, from that place of knowing, we can build a really genuine and heart-based, unshakable relationship with the one and only, with ourselves, with our food, something as simple as food that we have every day. Because when you eat, what are you receiving? The body of God. And it's really not about making healthy choices with your food. You can think about that later. That's important. But for now, just let it be enough that you're becoming aware that you're receiving the life of God when you receive the gift of food. When you see a bird land on a branch of a tree and it sings, pay attention. That's God singing back to you. That's your song singing back to you from another body. And just one moment of pause and pay attention can completely change your mood, your whole perspective on life. I tend to be a little bit of an Eeyore. That's just my nature. I'm wired. So I need to pay attention to all that good. And building awareness of this automatically builds appreciation and gratitude for it. You don't need a gratitude journal if you already feel grateful. The purpose of the journal is to help you feel the feeling. And if you're already bathing in the feeling of appreciation because of a mulberry or whatever simple thing, there's no work to do. You're already feeling it. And what does Science of Mind tell us? When we're automatically feeling grateful and appreciative, what does Science of Mind tell us begins to happen in our life? More shows up to be grateful about. Yes, more things show up. But I believe we need to understand that more opportunities to feel appreciative and grateful automatically open to us. Even if no thing changes in our life, we just start noticing what we already have and we're like, oh wow. And I think we have to go through this process of noticing what's already in our face before more can come. So if we're thinking of life as a chore or something to get through, let's just touch in to the fact that we're surrounded at all times and all places by the one and only, by this unending life whose name is love. So let's slow down, really look at a garden or grow your own herb and then eat it and see how different that feels to you when you really pay attention to what is everything, which is the one and only. So play with that this week, see if you can have a little fun with it. And if something cool happens, let me know, let us know. Thank you very much. I'm sorry I lost your page.
I want to thank Carissa for that beautiful talk, and I want to take us into prayer just for a moment. And I invite you to just relax and breathe in that air, that oxygen that is the giving of life to us. I invite you to feel the relationships in your life, the relationship with parents, with children, with friends, with family, with romantic interest, and feel that energy of relationships, the energy of spirit moving in, as, and through your life. And so what I claim is that those relationships flourish and reflect that love, that spirit that is God in each and every life. In our personal life, in the life of the world. I give thanks for the relationships in my life, in the life of spirit. I am grateful for them. And I release this prayer into the law, knowing that the law always says, yes, my beloved, it is so. I invite you to join me in saying, and so it is.
We know the healing power. We know the healing power. We know the healing power. We know the healing power of love. We know the healing power. We know the healing power. We know the healing power. We know the healing power of love. We know the healing power. We know the healing power. We know the healing power. We know the healing power of love. Oh, we know the healing power of love. We know the healing power of love.
Now's the time for the giving of our gifts. And I want to thank everyone for the way that you consciously contribute to the Columbus Center for Spiritual Living. We're honored to be able to support you as we move forward, and your contributions are very important because it helps us to fulfill our vision to create a world that works for everyone. And we know that as we engage with the law of circulation, we know that God is our source, and we are circulating Spirit's energy in the form of money, in the form of the givers, and in the form of the receivers. So if you want to give electronically today, Robin has the square. And we are going to say our affirmation if you'll join me together. My gift goes forth to heal and bless and prosper. It does its good and perfect work and returns to me multiplied abundantly. And so it is.
And as we witness the law of circulation, join us in singing I Expect a Miracle.
I expect a miracle right now, a miracle today, a miracle. I receive a miracle right now, a miracle today, a miracle. Whoa, 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 whoa. Today. Today, I am a miracle right now, a miracle today, a miracle. I receive a miracle right now, a miracle today, a miracle. Today, today,
And so as I stand before this offering today, I celebrate the divine abundant presence that God is, knowing that it is a joyful fullness and an absolute supply that is expressing always and in all ways. And I know that because this one is what I am, what we are, that every part of me, every part of everyone here today is that joyful fullness of God. And so as I stand before this generous and abundant community, I joyfully embrace this truth, knowing that each and every person here continuously strives for his or her personal abundance, receives it and circulates it freely so that we might all be blessed. Because a free flow of abundance and plenty is the natural state of being and expressing in this world. And so grateful to witness this outpouring of the all good of God. I bless the giver, I bless the gift, and together we sing.
and so it is, and so we let it be. And so it is, and so we let it be.
Now's the thank you time. I love this part. So I want to thank our practitioner for meditation this morning, Tammy Evans, for a beautiful meditation, and for also for holding high watch for service today, and Sarah Awad for being our platform practitioner today. A big thank you to our center band, Tony Bernardi on piano, Steve Parakis on bass, Julie Colburn, our service coordinator, Matt Vidal for live streaming to Facebook, Debbie Conkle for slides. Thanks to our song leaders, Joni Bauman and Dave Scarborough. And a big thank you to our speaker today, Carissa Holmes. Always a beautiful talk. Thank you. Thank you. I also want to thank all the volunteers that put this service together every morning so that we can be here and that we can video and that we can bring this to you. So thanks to everybody that's out there in viewer land and that will be watching us on YouTube later. We appreciate you. We love you. Come in, visit us sometime. You are blessed and we'd love to see you in person. Now, if you're joining us for the first time today, See Julie, that's all I'm gonna say. However, if you're online and this is new to you, go to our website or send us a Facebook message and we'd be happy to send you out more information about our center. Now, I like to stand, so let's all stand for the blessing and say the blessing with me, so then we can just go right into our closing song. Our blessing is, there is only one life. That life is God's life. That life is perfect. That life is my life now. And so it is.